Everyone has a fucking ego. The most egotistical
I'm
thing you
governed
can
by
say,
mine.
the most egotistical thing you can say is, oh, well, I don't have an ego. That is the most egotistical thing you could say, because everyone has one, and it's completely okay to have an ego. It's just when you're not aware of it's the problem. And dudes are so
On the subject of business, you've mentioned a couple of times to me when we've hung out, you know, like your wife is a very successful business person in her own right as a photographer. And she's been influential on how you've approached the business of being a presence online. Is that something that you set out to do, for example, in the way that you position yourself, what you talk about, and so on? Or has that evolved over time? Because one of the things that I kind of like, I take the piss and talk to Fernando and talk to JJ and be like, oh, when everyone else is zigging, you have to zag. And if you look at where the competition and the eyeballs is amongst the strength and conditioning community, it's not on mobility. And it might be a tricky thing to sell and be sexy, but there's no question you're the mobility guy. And I think the route to success online is to be the guy. If you could do, Cressy's the shoulder guy, you're the mobility guy, Brett Contreras is the glute guy. It's like, if you want to get eyeballs and get influence, is to be a guy.
And I think it's been perceived as so long as a bad thing. Like, oh, I don't want to be like specialized. Like, I want to be the jack of all trades. Why? Mobility gets my foot in the door with so many opportunities just because people know who I am because of one word. Like, I have so many clients that we do, like, most all my football guys have been mobility starts, and now I do all their primary field work.
Really?
Just because mobility gets me in the door. Like, if that's what gets me in the door, there are worse things that could get me in the door. Like, like, what are we talking about? And being known for something is not a bad thing, especially when you're putting out good information, which I feel I am. And it's a business, man. I think, especially nowadays, with people realizing how much money you can make online, whether it's programming or courses or certifications or whatever it is, like, people want it and people are willing to spend it. So why would you not, want to share good information? And if I hold on, let me backtrack. I get asked often, how do I create a presence, or how do I grow my brand, or how do I become the guy? And I'm like, that right there is how you don't become the guy, is by saying, I want to become a guy.
Yeah.
I want to be known for this. Just put out valuable content. I never was the mobility guy. I just started sharing a couple things. People like really liked it. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. I'll share more. I'll share more. I'll share more. And then now people, like, that's what they look for. That's what I get pegged as. If I post some triphasic leg workout, most of the people that follow me are going to be like, yeah, man, I don't care. Can you post that like hip thing that you normally do?
Yeah.
Whatever. But but it's sharing valuable stuff and understanding the client or the customer. I think most coaches, they try to play both sides of the fence. Like, they want to appeal to coaches, but then they say, well, I also want to sell things. I also want to create coursework. Man, I hate to tell you, coaches ain't buying your stuff. Like, and that's for me. Like, coaches aren't. It's the personal trainers. It's the people that can't afford me but want to learn, like, mobility stuff. And that is my customer. And my wife has helped me out with that tremendously. Like, stop marketing to coaches. Coaches don't care. They want it for free. And I was like, you're right. Why am I talking in my posts like a coach? Why am I using these words that normal people don't understand? Why am I talking, like, why do I care about the importance of eccentric overload and this and that, when the people that are my customers don't care about that? So every now and then I'll throw it in there because I do think it's good to put out information. But, like, my wife has been like, no, keep the main thing the main thing. If you're making money here with this and you have this customer base, appeal to them, because these other people, if your Instagram gets deleted tomorrow, they're not going to text you and be like, yo, Vernon, where you at?
I mean, they would text me just for the memes, but
well, you appeal to a different demographic here.
Well, it's funny, I feel like when it comes to social media, I think like one of the things that strikes me about like yours is like authenticity. Like if it doesn't interest you, you're not going to post it. If it does, you are. And you're kind of like letting your personality come through. And obviously with me being out of college for the last year, I'm like, fuck, here we go. So I'm like started like ramping up the social media. Of course, it's, you know, it's only helped. The following's gone up, the business has gone up. So it's like, yeah, you can say the word cunt on Instagram. So fuck it.
And you can be you. Like, dudes are so scared to like be them because they're worried about how it's going to be perceived. I can't tell you how many things I've gotten from people, like you just said, and they're like, man, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that on that podcast. Thank you for posting that. I thought I was alone. I'm like what? Like everyone's going through the same. Everyone has marital problems at some point. Everyone is scared of losing their job. Like, stop saying egos don't exist. Everyone has a fucking ego. The most egotistical thing you can say, the most egotistical thing you can say is, oh, well, I don't have an ego. That is the most egotistical thing you could say, because everyone has one, and it's completely okay to have an ego. It's just when you're not aware of it's the problem. And dudes are so, not dude, I mean, I say dudes, women, whatever, are so fragile about their persona on social media, and they want to be perceived as this big tough guy and whatnot. Man, I don't know. When you have a teenage daughter and her friends roast you every single day, like, I don't care what a grown man says on social media.
You know, the thing about ego, Martin Boucher, he just released a book, and he spoke to me a little bit, you know, to research it. And it's almost like that, Mike, to me, it's the Mike Tyson thing of, you know, fear is like fire. You can cook your dinner with it, or it can burn your house down. So it's not to say that ego is all good or all bad, because, you know, certainly Fernando will tell you the same. If you're gonna stand in front of a bunch of dudes that outweigh you by 30 to 50 pounds and be like, listen here, you fucking set of cunts, here's what we're gonna do. It's like, you're gonna have some ego to stand up and tell them how it is. But at the same time, if you're governed by it, that's when it will be your professional downfall. So it has to be kept in line.
It was this podcast with John Danaher and Lex Friedman, where he was saying like, it's okay to know where you stand, like that self-awareness, and just keep your ego in check. So whenever you think you're this big guy, you know, calling the shots and whatnot, just do something that will show you how fragile you can be in some different aspect, and they'll be like, okay, go humble again, you know your limitations, and get choked by someone on a tatami or something, be like, yeah, I still need to learn stuff.
Congratulations on your superhuman attention span. You've made it to the end of the video. If you found this video useful for your development as a strength and conditioning coach, be sure to click on the link below and access one of our free 10-part email courses.